Hello, everyone. Hello, beautiful beings. Thank you so much for choosing to incarnate and staying in your bodies. My name is Natalie. This is Natalie Levin Astrology. I'm here to talk to you about the full moon that is happening on Saturday. That's in 2 days, February 5th, 2023 at 1:28 p.m. on the East Coast of the United States. This full moon feels really impactful as they all have. It has not, I want to honor that this has not felt light and easy for most people that I am from whom I'm hearing in the past few months. And this full moon that is coming on Saturday is an echo of what was going on for you. If you go back to November 8th, 2022, so that was about February, January, December, November, like 3 or 4 months ago. Think about what was going on for you then. This full moon is echoing some of that story. This is for the collective. This full moon is happening in the sign of Leo, which is usually I'm like, oh, Leo is so lovely. It's the energy of the sun. It shines. It's the energy of the eternal child. It's I feel so much delight to frolic and traipse through the tulips and jump on trampolines. And I really enjoy playfulness. That energy is the first thing that comes up for me when I see this Leo full moon. However, it is dancing very actively with the energy of shocks and surprises and earthquakes and volcanoes and explosions and a detachedness, like how there might be a conversation because the sun is in Aquarius and Saturn is still in Aquarius. There could be a part of us collectively. I also want to say, please keep in mind that when I'm talking about the astrology that I'm looking at, I'm seeing it through the veil of my experience in this particular lifetime. So if it doesn't match for you, please take what you like and leave the rest about what I say. So when I'm seeing this full moon, it feels really taut, T-A-U-T, like tense, a very intense, not like I'm walking around possibly on eggshells. I'm feeling like I'm not quite sure what's going to happen next. I'm being invited to expect the unexpected with this full moon. And we absolutely could be feeling this in the lead up to the full moon. So if you're watching this on Thursday, for example, you might have been having a week already that you're like, oh my gosh, I am completely sidetracked and sideswiped by what has happened this week already. And I would invite you to know that that might happen some more. The invitation is, how can I step into staying with my heart open? Leo is related to the heart chakra, the amber golden light of the sun shining. How can I stay open? Plan to stay open even through the shifts and turns and shocks and surprises that I feel like this full moon is asking us to dance with. That was a dangling preposition. I'm aware of that. We also have our Venus for all of us is in Pisces, and she is really interested in feeling tenderly cared for. It's let me talk about it. Like you might be interested in, how do I feel cared for and valued in a tender, gentle, rather feminine and soft way? And Venus is in a tension-filled conversation with Mars in Gemini right now with this full moon. So it's, if I'm not getting what I want, if I'm not feeling valued, if I'm not feeling witnessed and seen, I might have a lightning bolt burst out of me that comes out in the form of very harsh, violent words. That could be a low vibration expression of this Venus-Mars square. Mars is in Gemini. Maybe the high vibration of me not feeling. This is all with the full moon, which heightens all of our emotions. Maybe I could take a high vibration conversation with the full moon and Mars Venus square by saying, I'm going to write some things down and put them off to the side. And in about 3 days, I'm going to look at what I wrote and really reassess, do I actually want to share this with whoever the person that I'm writing about is? Do I actually need to share these? Was it better for me to get this exercise out, almost like I'm creating a poem about my emotions? Pisces is poem, Venus in Pisces. We also have a helpful aspect with Mercury, which is how we communicate and how our minds work, is in Capricorn. This is on the full moon, and you might be feeling it building up. And Mercury in Capricorn is talking to Neptune in Pisces in a sextile, which is really helpful. And so the invitation could be, oh, what are some practical ways that I can imagine to feel like I'm taking care of myself? What are some, can I use my dream world? Your dream world might be really, really active right now as well. I want to throw that in there, but I have this opportunity with Mercury involved talking to Neptune, the planet of imagination, the planet that doesn't have any boundaries, the planet that is about inspiration, fog, confusion. Can I use Mercury talking to that planet during this full moon to invite in new ways of seeing, new ways of thinking about my dream, how I want to see my vision for the world, my vision for myself? Can I do that as well with this full moon? These are suggestions that are coming up for me as I'm looking at this full moon energy. We do have an impetus energy of like, let's get up and make things happen with the planet Jupiter in Aries. And Jupiter is getting closer and closer to talking to Chiron, which is our collective youngest wounding. He's not super close yet. He's about 6 degrees away. So I'm going to let Chiron just hang out there in Aries. And on this full moon, we could say Chiron wants to be heard and witnessed as well. What are the youngest parts of me that have not felt seen? What are the youngest parts of me that have not felt like someone emotionally attuned to me? And what do I need to do for myself around that? Can I take some really big full breaths in and out? Can I put my own hand on my own heart center? Can I put a hand on my back, the back of my heart? These are things that if I am raising a child and I try to really be cognizant of how much the body needs input and conversation, healthy touch, healthy conversation. So can I do that for my own self as well? And could you? These are suggestions that are coming up, seeing this full moon chart. So I wonder how this lands with you. I'd love to hear what comes up for you as you listen to me. I'd love to read the comments. And I am going to go into how this full moon is landing for us sign by sign now. And again, I invite you to take what you like and leave the rest about what I say. I'm going to pause this for 1 second. So my beautiful Aries risings and Aries sun beings, thank you so much for choosing to incarnate. Thank you for being here. I'm so happy that you have Jupiter in your sign. I feel like that is really a beautiful energy to have as an Aries person right now. And this full moon for you is landing in your fun house. Like, what feels like fun for me? What do I want to do? What can I find that feels playful and delightful as an Aries? Maybe I want to go, here's some images that are coming to me. If I'm an Aries, maybe for this full moon, I might, and if I live somewhere, well, it doesn't matter what temperature it is, where I live. Maybe I want to be somewhere where I can light a fire, or have this fire full moon, and you're a fire sign, Aries. Can I invite myself to be playful? Can I maybe light a sparkler? I'm getting a little literal here, but um, where can I warm my heart and feel inspired by this full moon to feel joy and playfulness? I really want to honor also that it might not feel that accessible, and that's okay. You know, this is Aries, my Aries friends, you're still having a square of Pluto to your sign. So that is, it's not, it's like, it's heavy. Especially depending on if you're Aries and you're born towards the end of Aries, let's say April 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th, you might be feeling like, I do not feel playful. So I want to honor and validate that that is true for you. I get it. It makes sense. And if you're born in the middle of Aries, so let's say um, April 2nd, 3rd, 4th, you might be having a real having a sense of, man, Chiron is sitting on my head, and Chiron is very young wounding. So it might be that you are simply not able to find a sense of playfulness right now. And you can invite the golden nugget of this full moon, perhaps Aries friends, to simply envision this golden amber light landing in the heart area of your body. And when your mind wants to try to figure everything out with the sun in Aquarius, you can notice that, and then maybe find your way back to the heart area. Like, okay, I know I feel like I have to figure things out and get it all right. And it can be on the full moon, on the day of the full moon, which is Saturday, the 5th of February, or it could be the days leading up to the full moon or after. Oh, I'm going to actually land back in my heart for 5 breaths and see what comes up for you, because there is an invitation to land in, I want to play. What feels like I'd like it to be a hobby. Is there some sort of a person nearby that I want to like have a date with? Am I interested in someone romantically? Does that draw me? Aries friends, you might actually feel lit up with being curious about dating someone with this full moon. And it does land in, it's not in your marriage house. So I do want to say that it's in your like short-term, super fun relationships area of your chart. And depending on what you're looking for, I would invite you to keep that in mind. It looks like I'm this full moon. I would invite you also, Aries friends, to know that you might have some surprise or shock around like your home. Like, let's pretend suddenly a hole forms in your ceiling. It could be something like that. It could be I'm walking along, like watch your steps, Aries friend, your literal, like your actual steps, or when you're walking with Uranus in your second house for this full moon. I invite you to pay attention to your surroundings so that you don't, the Uranus can, in the second house, it can be like an accident in my physical body. So maybe, and also to invite you to stay alert when you're driving. If you drive, like, stay alert. Know that the people around you also are having this full moon transit. And so I'm an Aries and I'm gonna, drive a little defensively instead of offensively. And Aries is the warrior, so it can feel, maybe if you have a lot of Aries energy, you tend to go offensively, and here would be a time to, I'm going to drive defensively. I'm going to like leave a lot of space between me and the car in front of me. If someone gets mad at me, I'm going to bless them and heal me. I wonder how this feels, Aries, to hear me say all this. I'd love to hear. Thank you so much. So beautiful Taurus friends, Taurus sun and Taurus rising. This full moon for you is landing in your family and family of origin house and your home, what feels like home for you. You're also having Uranus squaring the moon in your home area of your chart. So, and your career, there's the career area of your chart is also lit up by this full moon. Beautiful Taurus rising friends. So what comes up for me around this is if I'm a Taurus, what do I want to do to create some coziness and comfort, Taurus rising in my home? What feels heart-centered to me? Do I want to go out and buy myself some beautiful roses to put in my home for this full moon, to do a Leo act? Leo energy contains the sun within it. The sun is Leo's ruling planet. And you could fit 1.3 million planet Earths into the sun. That's how big the sun is. So I want to do something rather grand for myself in my home as a Taurus, a bouquet of roses. Maybe I have a lot, with this full moon, also Taurus, you might have some sort of like an epiphany pop or burst of inspiration in your career. It might be an aha moment. It might be an aha, I'm done with this job. It could be something surprising and shocking in the area of you in the public eye. Like, oh, you suddenly get accolades for the job you did in your day job. Like you get employee of the month kind of thing. It could look like that. It could also be, oh, I figured out a better system to do this. And I'm going to take that Taurus, take that bull by the horns and actually do it. And also keep in mind, Taurus, that you're having with this full moon quite a it can feel like you're destabilized at your core, at your root, biologically, physically, it would be your perineum. Like I am feeling like I can't quite find my footing as a Taurus with this full moon energy this week. So if that's happening for you, I want to offer validation. That sounds correct. That sounds on point with the astrology. And what would it be like for you, Taurus, to, if you need to, can you just lie on the ground, lie on the earth, lie on planet Earth, or sit with your back against a rock, or if you don't have trees nearby, lie on cement. That's Taurus. To feel grounded with this lightning bolt energy that is coursing through you right now. I mean, it's astrologically something that I'm seeing. Maybe I'm wrong. I'd love to hear if what I'm saying does not make sense to you. Please let me know. So I wonder how this lands for you, beautiful Taurus beings. Beautiful Gemini suns and Gemini risings. This full moon in Leo is landing in your third house, the third house of communication, how your minds work, short journeys, siblings, neighbors. And it's also lighting up for you the area of your chart that's around you learning, you being thirsty to grow your knowledge, going on long journeys. And there's a possibility, Geminis with Gemini risings, that some sort of a spiritual awakening or new way of seeing your connection to angels, guides, whoever else supports you beyond the veil, you might have more vision of that with this full moon in Leo. It's possible that you suddenly have a sign or a vision of one of your loved ones who has passed over, and they come and say hello during this full moon on Saturday. It is because Gemini, you already have so much access to words and communication. It's natural to have that as a Gemini sun usually, and Gemini rising. Of course, there's a lot of other ingredients in your chart, and I invite you to take all this with a grain of salt. What this full moon might be a great opportunity to sit down and journal and write. It could be, here I am as a Gemini. Do I want to go take a walk in my neighborhood and maybe say hello to one of my neighbors that I've never met before? Do I want to reach out to a sibling that I haven't talked to in a while? Is that coming up for me with this full moon? Keep in mind, if you do that, that we do have this Venus Mars square. So if you have a story with your sibling that is not the healthiest, I invite you to stay alert to if the words exchange start to get a little mean. And if that's the case, I invite you to set a boundary. You get to say, oh, Aquarius, we have Saturn in Aquarius for this full moon, and we have the Sun in Aquarius for this full moon, which supports you to set boundaries and say, oh, you know what, Saturn is the one of the ancient ruler of Aquarius. So it's an opportunity to say, you know what, this isn't okay for me. I'm gonna go now. I'm gonna hang up. Take care. And then you go home or you go back to your seat and you say, bless them, heal me. Bless them, heal me. Because sometimes, even though we've chosen to incarnate with a sibling or several siblings, it's not necessarily the most easeful relationship in this lifetime. So I want to offer up that could be one of the things that you see more clearly with this full moon, the way it's illuminating your sibling area of your chart. If you feel like you don't know what to do, you want to make some sort of a ritual for this full moon, Gemini risings, I do think writing, even what would it be like to write a poem that is just for you? And I hear a lot of people say, oh, I'm a terrible writer. Oh, I can't do that. I'm not artistic at all. And who wove that myth about you? Because I don't think you came out of the womb with that myth rumbling through your head. What would it be like for you to challenge that myth and say, I'm going to write a poem for me and no one ever has to read it, and to put that vibration out into the world? Even though no one may ever see it. Oh, you might actually decide, I'm going to put this up. I'm going to have people read this. If you are on social media, I'm going to put this on my social media wall. You probably won't die by sharing your writing with others. It's not like a life-threatening, it's not like you're going to jump off a cliff where there's no water below. You know what? I'm going to take that back because it might feel that way for you. So who am I to project onto you what it's like for you to have your writing read by others? So I take that back. It might feel like jumping off a cliff. And you're the boss of you. You get to decide what you do and whether you want to do it and how it feels for you. So I invite you to take some big breaths with this full moon in fixed signs. You are a mutable sign. So it's, can you allow yourself maybe to be a little more still for this full moon? And also, if you feel like talking a lot, what would it be like to invite all those words to stay inside and not necessarily come out? What more might be revealed if you allow for that pause? That's very mysterious. I'm curious. I wonder what comes up for you hearing me say that. Beautiful Cancer suns, Cancers rising. This full moon in Leo is happening in your second house, the house of my physical home, what feels, and also finances, what is coming in, what is my relationship to money, the energy of money. It's lighting up Cancer and Cancer rising. It's lighting up your area of your chart that's around magic, the occult, your relationship to other people's money, taxes, inheritance. And I also would say that your 11th house is getting lit up as well, which is friends, communities, and groups. It's actually like a tension. It's a lot of tension there, Cancers and Cancer risings. So here you are, you feel so tenderly, Cancer beings. You feel everyone's feelings. And then when you feel hurt, you tracked into your shells. I'm talking to you as a Cancer moon and a Cancer rising. And this Leo full moon is inviting you to, how do I stay open, keep my heart open as a Cancer sun, Cancer rising, in the realm of communities and groups, in the realm of other people's money and taxes and inheritances. These are places, one of my therapists said that money is the place where she sees people have the most disagreements. So what would it be like for me if I notice stuff coming up for me, like, oh, feeling really agitated that my Aunt Mary took my inheritance. I hate her. I'm wishing her evil things. What would it be like for me to take this full moon in Leo, which is heart opening, heart expansion, and instead remember that I am a spirit having a human experience on this planet right now. If I'm a Cancer sun and Cancer rising, I will possibly feel more pressure with this full moon around finances and be like, oh, wait, if I am having an energetic, not like a bottleneck and finances are not flowing to me right now, it could be that I get an epiphany, a shot of inspiration. It could be like, this is a moment when it's possible you could win, you could draw the winning numbers on the lottery. And you'd have groups and communities cheering you on, clamoring for your attention. And, you know, sometimes it's helpful. It's a helpful defensive mechanism for a Cancer energy to retract into its shell. So it feels like a complicated full moon for Cancer sun, Cancer, and Cancer rising people. It feels like, okay, there's this part of me that wants to expand myself and keep my heart open. At the same time, I might feel some pushback from the groups and friends and communities area of my life. If I'm not feeling like other people's money is coming to me, I might just want to go hide inside my shell. And I'm saying all this as an opportunity for you to feel validated. There's no should in astrology. There's no have to in astrology. These are possible ways that you might feel this energy of this full moon. And it just might be not the most comfortable full moon for you. I wonder how it feels to hear me say that, Cancer suns and Cancer risings. I'd love to hear in the comments. We move to Leo, where this moon is for you. And beautiful Leos, this full moon is in your first house. It's illuminating your very isness. It is shining so brightly on you as me. This is I am Leo. I shine. And then it wants to also have a conversation during this full moon with, who am I in relationship with others? Who am I if I'm married, in my marriage? Who am I in my contractual relationships? How do I want to show up? Do I want to show up in a heartfelt way, shining the golden light of my heart with love to the people with whom I'm in relationship? Or does that feel really not accessible for me right now? If it's not accessible, how do I show up for my own self here with this full moon, Leo risings? How do I turn the amber heart energy around and shine it on myself? I've heard of people doing mirror work. I am not familiar with this, but I do believe it means like I am looking at myself in a mirror and doing things like saying, I love you. You are wonderful. I am so glad you chose to incarnate. Thank you for being here. I think it's that kind of work. I mean, even doing that in and of itself feels like a powerful step. Leo risings, if you are finding it difficult to show up in a wholehearted way for others. And you might not want to. You might not want to show up for others. That is also valid. What I love about astrology is there's no judgment. It simply is. Leos, you might have some sort of an exciting surprise in your career area of your chart with this astrology. I wonder what that's going to look like. Yeah, let me just make sure I'm reading that right. I'm going to pause this for a second. That's correct. So your career area of your chart, Leos, what you might have a change or a shift. Maybe you get a raise. I'm going to go on like the positive bent here. Maybe you decide this job isn't working for me. I'm going to let it go. I wonder what it feels like to hear me say that, Leos. I'd love to hear how this lands with you, with what I'm saying. And again, I invite you to keep in mind that your marriage area of your chart is lit up with this full moon energy. So if you are in a marriage and it gets rocky or bumpy this week, I would allow like 3 days after Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Wait till Tuesday. Even if you feel like you have to make some decisions, wait till Tuesday. See what trickles down or metabolizes from this full moon before making some sort of a big decision. I wonder how this lands with you. I'd love to hear. Beautiful Virgo rising. This full moon in Leo is happening for you in your 12th house, the house of how do I connect with spirit? How do I connect with my guides? How do I connect with my angels? It's also the house of what about me is hidden from me? Where can I not find my own heart, my own sense of love for me as a Virgo rising? That question might come up this week with this full moon. How do I playfully land in the remembrance that when I'm listening to near-death experiences, people always say, oh my gosh, when I left my body, before I came back into it, it was just the best. It was so expansive, so beyond anything that I can possibly remember with my tiny little human brain. And then when I came back into my body, it was hard to keep a sense of that, but I still know it's there. So with this full moon, Virgo rising, is there some possibility of that kind of expansive energy that you can invite into your life? I know that Virgo is actually the energy of laser focus. It's very, it is incredible. I mean, Virgo is precise. I know a lot of Virgo people who are incredible dancers and also gymnasts. It's this movement through the body, physical. It's an earth sign, and creating precise movements and fluidity because it's mutable. And there's an opportunity with this full moon, Virgo, to expand a bit more beyond your physical incarnation. Maybe you, for the first time, say, hey, angels and guides, I think you're there. I give thanks to you all. Like maybe you have never talked to them before. Maybe this full moon is the moment when you say, hey, I'm checking in. Anybody there? This full moon for you is also how do you bring a little more heart, a little more connection into your daily life, your daily routine? What does that look like? If I'm a Virgo rising with this full moon, do I want to, like something I've been doing lately is actually sitting and meditating, which I I know is really good for me, and I simply have not been able to do that on a regular basis. And I've been calling it in and doing it a little more regularly. So that feels like a heart-centered practice to sit and allow myself to be without trying to change it. That's the energy of astrology for me. Can I sit into what is without trying to change it? So Virgos, can you bathe your daily routine in golden light? Even just for like, think of it maybe for 5 minutes. Like I'm going to, as I brush my teeth, I'm envisioning that my whole being is enveloped in golden amber light. As I shower, I envision that the water coming out of the shower head is golden amber light, covering me, dripping the highest vibration of spirit all over me. How does it feel to hear me say that, Virgo risings? I wonder if it sounds really, really weird to you. I'm okay if it does. I can handle it if you're like, oh my God, I don't know what she's saying. There also may be for you, Virgo risings, a moment with this full moon when you are like, I want to study something new. I'm ready to expand my knowledge. I'm going to learn Chinese. I'm going to learn to swim the butterfly. I'm going to do something new. That could come up for you as well with this full moon. Virgos, you're mutable. So the full moon is fixed. I don't feel like that is, I feel like you can more easily go with the flow of what's happening with the full moon than people who are fixed signs right now. Fixed signs are Taurus, Aquarius, Scorpio, and Leo. Virgo, the mutable signs, I feel like are a little having a little slightly more ease right now because it's just not the shock and surprise of Uranus over and over and over does not throw the mutable energy off the way it does to the fixed sign. So I invite you to ride this wave, Virgo risings, and I'd love to hear how this lands with you, how this full moon feels for your being. Libra rising. This full moon is happening in your friends and groups and communities area of your chart. And it feels very like if you are wondering, oh, I feel like I want to go be social on the full moon. I mean, first of all, as a Libra, usually Libra is one of the more social signs. Libra is about relationship, and with the full moon lighting up your friends and communities and groups area of your chart, it does feel like a nice time to go out and be with people. If that draws you, I personally don't like to be in big groups, and I'm not a Libra, so I only have one planet in Libra. When you go out with the groups and communities, you'll be supported to have to come up with ideas to have fun. You'll be supported to, oh, this sounds really great. I'm going to do this. My brain has figured this out. Let's do it. And then I would also allow for there to be some sort of illumination or awakening around magic, the occult, as you're out with your friends and communities and groups. Like almost if I'm a Libra or a Libra rising with this full moon, it might be a moment when I actually want to go to some sort of like an actual full moon ritual and allow in the Uranus, the lightning bolts, the epiphanies in my area of my chart that's around magic and the occult. What would that be like? What would that be like for me to dive into that area, the deepest waters of the eighth house, which is ruled by Scorpio? That's where some of this full moon is talking to you as well, Libra. It might feel too much energy. It's a lot. This full moon is a lot of energy. It's really tension filled, and Libras, I want to honor that you just might not be up for it. You might not be up for going out and being with a big group of people. You do still have Pluto dancing through a square to your sign. That's a lot. That's intense. So you might be tired out. You might be like, I'm going to spend this Saturday in and do some like Libra artistic things, because Libra is ruled. Maybe you listen to some music. Maybe I'm going to make some music on this full moon. Maybe that's how I connect in with my heart area. And that's what feels fun to me as a Libra for this full moon. That's what's coming up for me, for you Libras and Libras rising. I wonder how this lands for you. I'd love to hear. And for those of you who are Scorpios and Scorpio risings, this full moon is landing in your career area of your chart, like full on heart illumination spotlight. Like, if I am a Scorpio rising, am I feeling heart connected to what I'm doing in the public eye? Does it feel good for me? Does it feel like I'm able to shine my heart in a way? Am I able to feel playful? If I'm not, this full moon could really illuminate that for you. Like, oh, the way I go out and the way I am in the public eye and the way people see me in the public eye does not align with my Scorpio rising desire to feel playful, feel loving, have access to childlike joy and delight and wonder. And what do I want to do about that? Do I want to take action? What would that look like? It could be for you, Scorpio risings, that there is some sort of a contractual relationship that gets broken. Like if you are, let's say you're working at, let's say you're working at like the juice spot and you're like, I'm not able to feel playful and connected with my heart here. Maybe at that point you say, you know what, Uranus is in the contractual relationship area of your chart for this full moon. I'm gonna break. I'm gonna do an earthquake. I'm gonna lightning bolt this, and I'm gonna move along. I'm gonna move along and find a new place to shine my light. I know Scorpio is shadow. Scorpio is the deepest depths of the water, and every Scorpio has Leo somewhere in their charts. So it also Scorpio risings. This full moon is also activating your family of origin part of your chart and what feels like home for you. And it's a lot of tension that you're holding, Scorpio risings, for this full moon. It doesn't look particularly comfortable. What can you do to care for yourself around this Saturday energy, this week? Like, what can you do what feels caring and comfortable for you? What feels like a heart energy for you, Scorpio risings? Is it, I'm going to sit in meditation and connect with my spirits and guides? Is it, I'm going to have a crystal ball and stare into it? Is it, I'm going to go dive into the deepest body of water I can find here and like hang out down there? Is it, I'm going to take a big bath? What feels warming for you? Is there anything? Again, I want to honor that it doesn't look like the easiest full moon for you, Scorpio risings. So easy does it for yourselves. How does this land with you? I'd love to hear. Pause it for a second. Sagittarius and Sagittarius risings. I'm so happy that you're here. Thank you for being one of the more optimistic energies of the zodiac. And for you, this full moon is lighting up your area of your chart that's around, I want to learn, I want to expand my consciousness, I want to grow, I want to go on journeys. This full moon might have you thinking, what feels like a super fun adventure trip for me? You might, if you're Sagittarius rising, you might feel like, I want to make a trip. I want to do a trip. And I want to go somewhere and have a super fun time. Yeah, I mean, that I know that comes to you rather easily anyway, and it's getting illuminated with this full moon. So you might have extra fire for that with the full moon in a fire sign. Keep in mind that there is a conversation happening, Sagittarius risings, with how do I do that? Like make a journey and a trip while also doing my daily life, paying attention to my daily routines, and also like the way my mind works and the way I want to try to keep a clear thinking here. How do I do all that while planning a trip and wanting to go out on a big adventure? And I also know that if I'm a Sagittarius rising with this full moon, I'm also being asked to, it's like my daily routine. It might be enough for you to shake up your daily routine, or get a new pet. Like that's coming up for me as well. Like maybe I'm going to get a new pet, and that will be the adventure. That'll be the journey. That'll be the travel that I go on with this full moon. That would bring in a whole new energy to your living space, Sagittarius rising. And it feels like that might be the lightning bolt. It can also be Sagittarius rising. I'm going to take a step or an illumination around my health. I'm going to see what it's like to not eat sugar for a week and how do I feel. I'm speaking to you, people who are watching this, as someone who loves sugar. So I have never done that. I imagine it is incredibly powerful and effective. So that would be quite a journey to go on, Sagittarius risings. What does it feel like to imagine doing that? I'm so curious. Here comes the next sign. Capricorn sun, Capricorn rising. This full moon is happening in your 8th house, magic, the occult, taxes, other people's money. If this would be a time, I mean, Capricorn people usually are really, my Capricorn clients always pay me either in advance or immediately after their sessions. Like it's really, so I feel like if you are a Capricorn rising, you've probably already started thinking about doing your taxes. And this would be this full moon might give you another extra push to do whatever you need to do to make that happen. There is also a pull for you, Capricorn rising, to make some fun happen around this full moon. And it's like, how do I do that? Well, attending to taxes, other people's money, wondering, making sure the rent is paid. Your 2nd house is also illuminated by the sun for this full moon. So I'm a Capricorn rising, and I'm like, how do I need to pay the bills. I need to make sure that's all taken care of. And I want to have some fun this weekend, Capricorn rising. Your fun house is illuminated with electricity. So how do I do that? And also, do I want to possibly, as a Capricorn rising, start to dive into the fact that I am half goat and half merbeast? A lot of people who are Capricorns don't know that Capricorn is half, like it's almost like half centaur, and the bottom half of the Capricorn is a mermaid, a merbeast. So what would it be like for you to dive into that realm with this full moon happening in this amazing, mysterious part of your chart, Capricorn? Like, oh my gosh, I'm ready to illuminate that part of me that has not dived in yet to the spirit part of myself that I know is there as a Capricorn rising, and I just haven't taken that leap yet. Maybe this full moon invites you to like listen to, there's a podcast that I've been on, it's called A Psychic Story, and it's so good. And maybe you start to listen to that podcast. What would it be like to listen to, if you're Capricorn rising, to listen to some near-death experiences on a podcast or on YouTube? How might that open up your world a bit more? Lightning bolt it. That might be the way you have some fun on this full moon. I wonder what it feels like to hear me say this. I know it doesn't feel like, oh, it might not feel productive to do that kind of work. And when we are spirits, Capricorns, when we are spirits and we are not in our bodies, there's no such thing as being productive. So here's an opportunity with this full moon to remember that, like, oh, wait, when I'm not in my body, I don't actually have to be productive. Can I lean into that fact? How does it feel to hear me say all this? I'm gonna pause. Beautiful Aquarians, Aquarius rising. This full moon for you is taking place in your, wait, I'm going to pause for a second to make sure I say this right. Oh yeah, it's in your 7th house, your house of contractual relationships, in your house of marriage, and your house of working one-on-one with people. Like if you are a counselor, that's 7th house work, like you're doing one-on-one work with other people. So if you're an Aquarius and Aquarius rising, here's this full moon illuminating. It might be lighting up. Like you might feel, if you happen to work one-on-one with people, you might feel extra inspired, extra heart connected when doing that work. You also are having your area chart that is around home and family lit up as well with shift, change, earthquakes. And it's how, if I'm an Aquarius rising, I mean, that actually makes sense with the way the marriage house is getting lit up with shocks and surprises. I mean, the full moon lighting up the marriage house, contractual relationship house, the 4th house, which is house of home, and your sense of like the what feels nurturing and caring for you getting lightning bolted. It might be that you get some sort of an epiphany or a shift or a change about what feels caring and tender for you, what feels like you are able to dive into the archetype of mother, so that, you know, even if your own mother has not been able to give you what you need, maybe there's some sort of a lightning bolt or an illumination for you around what you can give for yourself to mother your own self. What does that look like? Maybe it's you have the softest blanket and you wrap it around yourself. Maybe it's like tender care to rub cream into your own skin. I don't know. That's the image that's coming up for me with this full moon. The full moon is in Leo, which also for me can be related to caring for my cubs. So if I'm an Aquarius rising, and I want to care for my inner young baby cubs that are rambunctious and running around and full of beans, I give them a bath with my super soft, super intense tongue. Cat tongues are super intense. Then they're all groomed, and then I care for myself with maybe like hygiene during this full moon. I'm going to brush my teeth. I'm going to floss. How is this landing for you, Aquarius rising? I'm curious. Again, just like for other fixed signs for this full moon, this is not the most easeful full moon. It doesn't look like for you, Aquarius rising, because it's happening in all fixed signs. It's making a T-square, so it's a lot of tension that you're holding between here I am, I'm feeling my own self as an Aquarius. How do I incorporate my work with other people as an Aquarius? And how do I also bring home and a sense of divine feminine into that conversation? Those 3 different voices don't necessarily understand each other. So it's quite an opportunity to hold multiple voices at once without necessarily deeming one correct, one as the one I'm absolutely going to listen to. It's me holding space for all that is. Aquarius is a fixed sign and it is the water bearer. So maybe Aquarius rising, you can imagine yourself holding this canteen, is that the right word? Or like a big pot of water. And in the water are all of these multiple viewpoints, and you are simply holding it and you're not pouring it out. Does that image resonate for you, Aquarius risings? I'd love to hear in the comments. Pisces and Pisces rising. This full moon is illuminating your 6th house, which is about what is your daily routine? What are the ways that you care for your health? How are your pets doing? Can you connect, if you're a Pisces rising, what is it like to connect in with more vim and vigor to the love of, if you have animals around you? A lot of Pisces do. So I have 4 cats. So can I connect in with the love of my cats? That's very Leo, like they're small lions. If you're Pisces rising, can you also know that there is an invitation with this full moon to expand the connection you have to what are the ways your mind works around connection to spirit, connection to angels, guides? And can you maybe do some writing, Pisces rising, like around things that you find shocking? Like, here I am, I think it would be shocking for others to know that I think blah, 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 blah. It would be shocking for others to know that I think that Diet Coke is mother's milk. Like that's a true confession. I do enjoy Diet Coke. I know it is poisonous. I do love it. So that's an example of like, maybe I'm going to take this because Uranus, shock and surprises, is in my house of communication. If I'm a Pisces rising, which I am. So maybe I'm going to take this opportunity to write down some things that feel shocking to me. Maybe I'm going to think of how can I bring more fun and heartfelt energy to my daily routine? For me, what I've been trying to work on that actually, and what it's been feeling like is trying not to wish that something is other than it is. So here, let's say I'm going to the grocery store and the grocery store is closed because they ran out of electricity. And so instead of having a big, oh man, I wish that it were not this way, I would instead lean into, okay, the grocery store is closed. What is that like? I'm going to lean into that and feel the feelings that come up around that. I'm going to allow my heart to stay open, even though the circumstances around me feel difficult. What is it like for me to keep my heart open around the fact that I choose to brush my teeth every day? Sometimes I wake up and I am like, I do not want to do that. Sometimes I do not want to take out the trash. I don't want to do the daily routine things. And here's an opportunity with this full moon to allow more heart to come into what I have to do every day. That made me sneeze. So that was like a Uranus. That was a Uranus moment of, okay, I can feel my resistance to bathing my daily routine in heart-centered light. And there's lightning bolts coming and it feels electrical, and I still can hold that. The invitation is here, Pisces rising, to hold all of that. Even though you are a very porous energy, Pisces rising, it's hard for you to contain. It's not a contained energy, Pisces. But with the fixed sign energy of this full moon, you do have a bit of a container this weekend. So can you hold steady for yourself and others, Pisces rising, and continue to do the next right thing with a remembrance that you are a spirit who chose to come into a human body, and you get to do these physical things that we can't do when we're in our spirit form. I wonder if that shifts it up for you at all. I wonder how it feels to hear me say that. My friends, thank you so much for listening. I invite you to like, subscribe, and share this video. It really means so much to me when you do. I'm so grateful to you all who have subscribed to my YouTube channel. Thank you. Thank you. If you'd like to work with me one-on-one, you may go to natalielevinastrology.com, and I'm on Facebook at Natalie Levin and Instagram at Natalie Levin Astrology. I'll put the links to my social media under this video. I hope this has felt helpful, and I'm so curious to hear how it lands with you. Thank you so much.